For people who get remarried and have children from a previous relationship, it can be difficult to blend their new family successfully. Joining us with tips this morning is Dr. Rob Robinson, Clinical Director of Family Care Counseling Associates in Wilbraham. This can be a very tricky thing for people, and no matter how much you read about it, it's still something you have to go through.
Yeah, no question. I mean, nuclear families and blended families are two entirely different entities. They're vastly different, and if people understand that going in, you know, before they really get involved in the nitty-gritty of blending families, they'll be better prepared to do things that will help it get off the ground in a much healthier, happier way.
Right, exactly. So the first tip that you have is to resolve any leftover anger, resentment from previous relationships.
That's absolutely essential. I mean, you know, leftover anger and resentment and hurt is carried like luggage into a new relationship, and it's unpacked, and it interferes with lots of the dynamics. It not only gives the new relationship a worse chance to get off because you're just consumed with whatever makes you upset or hurt, but also it interferes even with the relationships with your children and your partner's children. So it's really important, if you haven't let go of that, to really focus on being able to, you know, look clearly at what happened in the relationship, learn from it, and then let it go. There's a difference between a legal divorce and an emotional divorce. A legal divorce happens on a particular day and it's over with. The legal piece is finished. But an emotional divorce takes anywhere from 2.5 to 3 years for someone to ultimately resolve the anger they have left over from a previous relationship. And you have to give yourself time, and it's best not to rush into a new relationship until that work is done.
Of course, you want to go in with a clear head, and that's not just for you, but for everyone.
Absolutely. The chances of it being happier in the new relationship in a blended family is going to be much greater if you can just work through, get to the emotional divorce piece so there's no strong reactions when you're dealing with your ex-partner.
Right, exactly. Now, you mentioned the Brady Bunch syndrome.
Yes.
What do you mean by this?
Well, you know, one of the things that happens when couples meet, you know, there's high romance and all kinds of crazy things that they feel for one another, which is wonderful, but it also leads to the Brady Bunch syndrome, and everybody knows what that is. I mean, the Brady Bunch was this family that blended, and everybody lived happily ever after.
Yeah, exactly.
But what happens with the Brady Bunch syndrome is it lures people into expecting too much too soon. And it takes, on average, for a blended family to get its act together about 7.5 years. So if you go in thinking everything's just going to be hunky-dory because we're in love and that's going to take care of everything, that's not how it works, especially with the kids. It's important to be grounded in the reality that, you know, you have to work together as a team and understand that not everybody might be psyched about this new relationship.
And our life is not a TV show. This
Absolutely.
is our lives are not the same, and those are written fiction, so you have to make sure that you live in the world that you live in.
And when you talk about it taking 7.5 years, it's not because you're trying to discourage anybody, but to look at the reality of how long it takes for people to finally feel like it's normal. And if they're aware of that going in, and there's no kind of, you know, lure of being locked into thinking this is going to be some kind of fantasy, you know, life, then they're willing and able to do the hard work that's necessary to get all of this to come together.
Absolutely. Let's talk about the bond between the biological parent and child versus the step-parent. That can be a difficult dynamic.
That's one of the trickiest areas of this whole thing. And the truth of the matter is that the bond between a biological parent and their biological child is an incredibly strong link, and it often supersedes the relationship that exists even between the couple, and it's a normal thing. It's absolutely something that takes place in every family, and yet when people don't understand that biological link is often stronger than the link between the couple in a blended family, they take it personally, they feel hurt, there's an awful lot of resentment that can build up, and it really interferes with the dynamic. If you take a mature approach, understand that that's what exists, then you're better able to handle the things that come up between the parents and also with the stepkids and their biological children.
Which ties right into your next tip, which is that step-parents need to take care of each other and spend time connecting in order to build that relationship, and understand that the step-parent is never going to be as close to that child as their actual mother or father.
That's absolutely true. I mean, one of the things that's really important is that the step family has a unique set of challenges that come with blending a family, and most of the difficulties, challenges, arguments, and fights are around the kids. And if the couple isn't making a deposit in their emotional bank account and strengthening their relationship, there's no way they're going to be able to weather the stressors that come with blended family life. So they have to make it a point to take care of the relationship, to do things without the kids, to recharge their batteries, to make deposits in one another's emotional bank accounts, because the more you have in that tank, the better able you are to weather the stressors that come up with blended family life.
Right.
It's absolutely critical.
It's like that insurance to keep you there and keep you strong.
That's exactly
for those times
right.
that are not so wonderful.
Precisely.
Right. Now let's talk about the step-parent's role.
Yeah, well, the step-parent role, I think, is really important. That one of the things that can happen sometimes with a blended family is for a step-parent to go into the new family thinking that their job is to replace the other parent, that I'm going to be the parent that they didn't have, I'm going to be the parent that takes care of things in a better way than their biological parent, and that is absolutely treacherous thinking. There's no way that if you go in thinking you're going to replace the other parent, that that stepchild is going to accept that as part of the relationship. Even if the other child's parent died, it's a still powerful presence. So the main theme of a step-parent is to be able to go into the step-family life and become a friend of the child. Of course, you consult with your partner about discipline things, but you got to let each parent discipline their own biological children. Don't get into thinking, you're the knight in shining armor riding in here to, settle everything the way you think it needs to be done because you're the new parent. Absolutely treacherous thinking. It will absolutely destroy the blended family from getting back together.
There's fairy tales about it, there's movies about it, so we all know that evil stepmother or stepfather, but you have to take your time, don't go into it trying too hard, and just enjoy each and every moment.
Right, and work together, weather the storm, just take the stuff that comes along the way and you'll be able to get through it.
Excellent advice, Dr. Robinson. Always love having you here.
Thank you very much.
And you can see these tips again and visit us on our website, mymassappeal.com.